Talking to myself. Okay, good morning everyone. I'm going to talk about synchronous and also asynchronous hybrid method. Because synchronous, we have a concern that most of the students will have problem and their attendance could be not that high because of some commitment at other places and so on. So we do recommend for hybrid method. And I will give you some example later, hybrid method 1 and example 2, and I will introduce you a few tools that is good to use for both for the hybrid system, hybrid method actually. The first thing that I need to talk to you is the first sharing part is from Prof. Photo last week. It was difficult and more tiring to have a session without seeing student real time. Like me doing now, actually, I can't see your face as most of us are not showing our camera. It's actually quite speechless where we...
Yeah, that's what I experienced. Yes. Very tiring.
We will prefer the students to mute their microphone because it will be very noisy when everyone unmute their microphone. So it will be like talking to an empty room, like Prof. Koto said. So I felt that before when we first try out, actually. That's why I run the whole session quite quickly, actually, because with limited question from students. So before I enter the real thing, I would like to share here, this is the bookend approach, where this is taught by the previous active learning workshop, actually. We need to start our session with advanced organizing, which we can have opening question, which we can create their students' participation, their preparedness for the class. Where for this online learning, this is important as well, where we are trying to get students to be prepared. Because all their connection, they will be slow and so on, which we can do some little discussion, we can do some small quizzes at the advanced organizing. Only we start our lecture. Important thing is, like now what we are doing, we will need to have some break between short lecture. For example, we go for 5 slides, we go to one subsection, we should stop for a while, do something, start some discussion for 2 to 3 minutes, and then you only continue for the next part. Otherwise, you will feel like always talking alone. After half an hour, you will get bored and you will try to escape from the session already if you are not having students asking questions. That's why I think Dr. Tan has done a very good practice just now. Every short section that she done, she will stop and ask for question, and coincidentally, we have representatives that ask question. If without students asking question, you might need to have some question for the students, for them to think and for them to get involved with the lecture. So this is important, where break is important, but the break cannot be toilet break anymore. You might want to make a pool as well. I have found an online learning platform that we can have the online pool. Okay, the first example, I got it from JP, is actually, I'm not sure who is the lecturer, but I got it from a group. They first having the live video with the students where she do the introduction part, and then she start to have asynchronous video, and then quiz, and then discussion through WhatsApp, and then video again, and then another quiz, and then WhatsApp again, and then video again, and then quiz, and then discussion, and conclusion come back to life. So that is how they try to engage the student. But yeah, this is I think this is a good method that UTM wants to see as well, where the problem will be students that not able to join, then they will be only be able to, they still able to join because they only skip the live part, which is the introduction and also the conclusion, which they might want to follow up with the lecturer after that also okay. And you will need to record your video, as now I'm doing. Actually, our video is actually being saved. So this is the first type of hybrid system where we just do introduction, and then they do their homework and so on, and then come back again. But important is, just now Dr. Tan have a forum for us to have feedback from the students, where the feedback from the students can be other channel, where it can be in WhatsApp, it can be in any chat box, so that students can get immediate answer from their friends as well as you. I agree with Dr. Tan that it is important that we respond to the students. That is called feedback. Students are really happy when they see any feedback from the lecturer. They would tend to more agree with lecturer answer than their friends' answer. So this is the first hybrid method. Do you have any question on this? So actually, asynchronous, you can also do a synchronized forum, which is going through the WhatsApp. I think Prof. Uda is doing that as well. You have uploaded the video, and then you have the WhatsApp channel where students can just ask questions anytime. And of course, you need to mute the group, otherwise they will be asking you questions at the midnight, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So it will be better if you just mute the group and enter the group once a while, not all the time. Otherwise, you will be all the time entertaining the students as well. Okay, I found this thing online where we have our CRO talking about engaging, exploring, explaining, asking students to explain something, to elaborate something, to evaluate something. We will need to have the correct tool to help us to do all this demonstration to the student. When we try to engage students, we can have Padlet, we can have Google Classroom question, we can have Mentimeter. To explore something, we can ask them to use YouTube, like we upload our videos. We can ask them to search for videos as well. Not necessarily that always we are the one making the video. Actually, in YouTube, there are a lot of lecturers that making a lot of brilliant videos. So what we need to do is actually just grab all the videos and show to the students, or asking the students to grab the videos by themselves. Then, if you want to explain something like now, actually we can just show you the slide and you can read it, but because we want to explain to you what should we do, so we can have a session like this just to explain, or even you can make your own video to give the students. And then to elaborate, if you want students to elaborate, you can create quizzes that create their students' awareness that what is their weakness in different parts of the topic. So these are the quiz platforms. And evaluate, you can also have all these quiz platforms, where I think the simplest will be Google Form, as well as the quiz function in our e-learning. If you explore that, actually quite easy, because they are just setting a question bank, and then after you have the question bank, you can choose the question for the students to answer. What I did for my previous class is actually the first 10 minutes, I asked them to answer a quiz on the previous lecture. So I just created an e-learning quiz where I have 10 questions I have 6 questions over there, and it's randomized. In 10 minutes, students have to answer it. Otherwise, I will start my session. And by that, I can take the attendance as well. So for synchronous platform, we have WebEx, which we are using now. And we have Zoom, where I have received a number of questions from the lecturers that it's not safe anymore, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure how true is the news. It seems like KMN is already confirmed that, but if we are not preferring to use that, then we can have the rest of the platforms. Don't worry with Zoom, because we are not paying with Zoom. We are not losing anything for not using it. In fact, other platform has their own advantage as well. Sorry?
Yeah, just one quick comment on Zoom. I have been trying to use Zoom during my past few sessions, but the problem of non-licensed version of Zoom is it has 40 minutes limitation per session. and they can just shut down the session.
Yes.
Of your, die from meeting. So I don't know how WebEx works. Is it like too heavy?
WebEx, we heard that it will be really taking a lot of data traffic. So I'm not sure how students could respond to if we are always using WebEx, because most of the students having problem with their internet data. They might not have unified as.
I know WebEx has the Android application and perhaps iPhone too. I just wonder how it works. I know Zoom works on handphone nicely, but not.
Google Hangout and also Big Blue Button are good as well. And yes, Dr. Frank said that Google Hangout is easiest. It's true actually. Google Hangouts is the easiest and most convenient one where we can just click in our system, and UTM has paid for it. Why not? But anyway, later I will show you Big Blue Button in our e-learning where you don't have to set up anything anymore. It's quite easy and quite useful actually.
Okay, all right.
So for WebEx, I think most of you have experience, but you're not sure how did I start all my, how do I have my meeting rooms? This is what I call my meeting room. So you guys are in my meeting room now. So what I did was register with UTM to get a account where you can set up it by registering your account with UTM Lead on this link, and then Cisco will give you an email and you can activate and you can download the app inside your phone and inside your software inside your computer. And then if you are having a software inside your computer, this is what you have. You can start your meeting with this blue button. It should be a start a meeting if we are not having a meeting now. And then if you want to join someone meeting easily, you can just give the link here and you click join. Like just now, I give you my meeting room link in the WhatsApp. You can just copy and paste here, and then you can use already. And how does it look like? First, you can mute and you can switch on and off your camera as well. And then you can share your screen, where this will be how you can share your screen. The first one, you can share the whole screen like what I'm doing now. For your information, I'm having two computers now. That's why you can see that I'm not looking at my screen camera. And I can have your face and my slides running together because I have two monitors. The second one, you can directly share one of the apps directly, which means if I just want to show the WhatsApp, then students will just see the WhatsApp. If on the screen I have changed to something else, I've changed back to WebEx, they won't be seeing that I have actually moved back to WebEx. They will only see a freeze software. So you don't have to worry that they see other things that you don't want them to see. And then you can record. What I'm doing now is I'm having a recording session now, and then you can check your participant, which you are having now. I think most of the lecturers most of you already know, and you can have the chat down there. So do randomly check the chat box, where just now, actually it popped up as well. So when you have your screen shared like now, this scene, the green color box is actually representing that the screen is being shared. And these are the two boxes that you have on top of the screen, where you can see in real one, this one. You can pause the whole thing. You can further share different things. You can change what you have shared, and you can assign people to do something here, which you can make someone as a presenter. You can allow people to draw on your screen, and then you can mute yourself. You can stop your video. You can start your video recording, and participants still the same thing. And different thing is the annotate, where you can actually start drawing. I think now we have found that most of the platform already have this function. So don't worry with this function anymore. So, okay, I will just pick this one. And anyone have you have problem with WebEx actually?
Dr. Liew,
Yep.
if you would like to share the PowerPoint, is it better to share the PowerPoint only or share your screen, the whole screen?
It depends. If you have only one monitor, I would recommend you share the screen because you can't see the student's face.
Okay. All right. So it's better to share the whole screen, yeah? Not the PowerPoint file. Okay.
Easier.
Okay.
And you are not losing. Otherwise, you don't know what the students have seen, and you have moved to other software, and you don't know what is happening, and students doesn't know what you are explaining.
Okay.
Especially some lecturer, you tend to go from one software to another software. For example, sometimes you use PowerPoint, sometimes you use words.
Okay. They
You
can
are not changing, then students doesn't know what you are talking about.
All right. Okay.
Okay, anyone have problem with WebEx? Next, we will go into the e-learning link group button. I think we have been testing, so that's why this you have no problem with it. Okay, Big Blue button is actually already installed in our e-learning, where if you add in activities, you can just add in the Big Blue button, this one, and you can set the class here. Then set the timing, and all the enrolled students in your class will be the viewer and you will be the moderator. And students will see like this, and they can just click join the session when the times is up, when the times is on. Then you can join by talking and listening, and students prefer to be listen only, otherwise they will be noisy and you have to control their mute and unmute. But they still can join and talk at microphone as well, talk and listen. So this is what you will be seeing in the Big Blue button, where you have several new tools that for you to use. One thing, this is the chat box. Students can ask questions directly, and this is where you get all your slides shown. What students can see will be here also. And at the same time, you can have these tools. You can share screen, you can use tools as well. For sharing screen, this is the thing where this is the button at the bottom, and you can share your entire screen like just now. You can share a software as well, or you can share a Google Chrome page as well. So it's quite similar to any other software, just the button is different place. I'm not going to explain this, but what we can do here is actually you can upload a presentation slide by uploading a presentation here. If you see here, you can upload a presentation. So you can upload a presentation here by selecting a file and then upload, and then student will directly see the file here, and then you can start drawing here as well. And students are able to draw on your screen as well. And actually, the nice thing is actually this one, we can start a pool where student can vote for something. You can ask a question like ABC, which is better, and students can vote for ABC. If you have 4 options, then you can click this ABCD, and students can vote for ABCD. So ask question orally, and then you will get the polling result here as well. And then you can publish the polling result to the students. Normally, they won't see until you publish the polling result actually. So at the same time, you're actually taking attendance. You are spot checking the attendance by using a quiz here. Okay. Any problem with Big Blue button here? Because it's quite simple and similar to what we have. The good thing is actually just this polling.
Yeah, I want to know how can we record this BBB?
BBB is already directly recorded. No worries, there will be, if you stick the button activity there, it will upload after 1 day. You are saying you are not joining the video immediately, even WebEx. Only after 1 day they will be giving you that WebEx, the WebEx and also this big blue button video.
That recorded will be displayed in e-learning, you mean?
You will need to choose upload. There will be one function down there later. After you have the session, you will get a button that's saying, do you want to publish the video? Which means after 1 day, you need to go back to the activity again. They'll be by default inside the system, just that you need to grab it out for the students to see.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Dr. Liew. Yeah, just wanna ask, because actually I tried to use the big blue button, and then as what Dr. Sumiati said just now, I couldn't find the recorded file, and after I end the session, right, they didn't ask me to choose whether I want to upload the video or not.
No, I think you have to come back 1 day later. Then the whole thing will come back again, and then it will ask you to choose a link that which video do you want to upload.
Okay.
I saw that before.
Wait for 1 day.
I didn't manage to capture because I deleted the activity.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you very much for your answer.
Okay. Yeah, I was scared also previously where I used my WebEx and then I can't see the video. And after a few days only, I found out that it's actually after 1 day only they produce the video. Any other question? Because I think I'm running out of time, and I have one more tool to show you a synchronized one. I think it's quite important that a lot of lecturers are worrying about. Yeah.
Sorry, I did use this BBB last week, but now I try to find the recorded link. There is no recorded.
Later I sort out with you, and I will update in the group later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And this is the second example that I have from JB as well. They do quiz before the class, and then they have some interactive video. I will define you the interactive video later, and then students will work on the exercise before they join the Zoom session. They join the live session with the lecturer. I think this is a good practice as well. So the feedback can be live. You won't need to have the forum that students cannot see you to respond their question directly. And you can take attendance at the same time, and which you can check whether the students actually understand or they have viewed the video or not. If they are not viewing, they won't be able to commit to the discussion. So you can test the students and stress the students that if they are not prepared, then they won't be able to join anything here. So what is a
You have a question here. Yeah. May I ask you a question here?
Sure.
Okay, now, in this slide, it is said that use UTM Smart to take attendance.
Yeah, I think she have a slide on the QR code.
A student is using smartphone to attend this session, still can they use the
they can take a picture and then go back to UTM Smart, and then they can QR code according to the picture.
Okay.
But I think when we are doing online session, don't be too rigid with the attendance, where we are telling the students you can learning on your own pace. So we cannot say if you are not joining our live session, that means you are not committed to the class. It's quite unfair to the students, as what online learning tells students is actually they can freely join the session anytime. So it's quite unfair for the students that you have a rigid things that they must attend every week. Then students will be complaining. Then it defeats the purpose of having online learning actually.
Dr. Liew?
Yeah.
Ibrahim online?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, just quick one. So then how you make sure you have a right attendance for the students?
For me, I have my assignment after the session.
see.
So at least two things I can do. One thing, and make sure students have committed to whatever I uploaded. The second thing, I have some assignment to mark, so I can see whether they can understand or not. A simple one also okay. At least we have asked the student to be committed to that session.
Okay. One more thing, from what you have been conducted until now, what is basically the number of percentage of students coming in and joining your assignment or completing your assignment? More than 80%?
Assignment, because it's given marks, so I have 100% basically. For the live session, previously I've only done once, where the students, only one student escaped from the class.
Thank you, Dr. Liew.
Okay.
Dr. Ibrahim, in my case, in my live session, I got 90+% of the attendance in the live session.
Yeah, so the 10% we cannot say that they are not committed, because they might be listening to your recorded video after that. So we can't blame them as well sometimes.
One of the concerns last time we discussed on our side, to ensure that we have the numbers of the attendance of the students. So this is like the concern. So maybe we can have a good guideline. At least what you have done, I think is good on the participation of the assignment, right?
Yeah, at least, which means that they understand they have already got the CO done. So, okay, you have attended, we can declare.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Liew.
If they want to cheat, we can't do anything lah. Okay, the other one, because just now we were talking about the commitment of students when we are showing videos and so on. So I'm sharing one special things here, where actually in e-learning I've shared this video to the students. It's a YouTube video. I'm not making my own video. And then I top up with questions for the students, which means after 30 seconds, I have the first question. What is the power generation, energy conversion in nuclear power plant? So students need to answer. So at least students knows what is the point that I want to show this video. Otherwise, they are not understanding why are we showing that video to them. So we can guide them for learning from different sources in the YouTube and achieving our CO. It's a different software, which is a different website, which is an Edpuzzle. You can try to have this Edpuzzle account, make an account, and then you can have your video. First one, you can have your own content. By clicking my content, you can add content. You can upload your video, and then at the same time later, you can add in question. But at the same time, they have already connected to several channels. For example, YouTube channel, National Geography channel, and Khan Academy, which is some online learning channel. You might need to buy some video from it, I think. Not for Khan Academy. But what I did so far is actually, these two is actually the YouTube video, and this is actually my own video. We were trying in the workshop last time. So these are two options that you can do for getting the video. And then if you want the YouTube, directly it will go into YouTube and you can search for the YouTube video. And then when you get the video, what you can do is to edit the video. After you click the edit, you will be able to cut the video, which means you want to make it short. From 30 minutes, you just want 10 minutes, you cut whatever that you want only. And then if you want to explain at the same time, you can put on your voice, you can voice over, and you can add on a question. And these are the questions that you can give: multiple choice question, open-ended question, and note, which means you can give a note for the student. This is important. Put a note there. So at least students are aware that this is important. Or you can give the note by having question, which means after the people already explained the topic, and then you can put on a question. That if they not understand, what they can do is actually go back. They can rewatch the video, or they can skip the question, of course. So this is a good platform, I guess. Then you can get the students committed. Otherwise, you don't know students have actually watched the video or not if you don't have an assignment. So I think this is a good option for you, and this is what it means by interactive video by this lecturer actually, where she did this one. and I've uploaded my one in the e-learning. And basically, these two are the main point in the video that I want the students to know. So you can click assign to get the URL, the public link you can send to the students by putting into the e-learning, or you can put into their WhatsApp group. But what I did was I used embedded code to put into each week punya topic. Then it will directly shown in e-learning actually. Okay, last, any question on that puzzle actually? This is just a new thing for you where I think is good for the students, where we can get students committed, and you might not want to create so much video as well. The last but not least, I got it online also, teaching tips for live session like what we are doing now. You should schedule but not post the link before the session. Just post it right before the session so that students are get committed, and then join early to connect your students. For example, just now I actually start my session 15 minutes before the session started, and then plan some sponge activity, which means that 10 minutes before, like just now I said, you need to get the student prepared for 10 minutes. So you need to have some activities for the students. And then you put everyone on mute. You can actually, if you are hosting the WebEx, you can actually mute all the participants. You can check whether the students are actually making noise by having some, I think, gelombang, they will have an icon that the person is actually noisy. Then you just mute them. Do that, otherwise it will actually affect other students' learning. As a moderator, that is our job to clear it up. And then you need to stop the recording, otherwise it will have problem. End it with question, throw some question, learning outcome and so on, like what Dr. Tan done just now. Start and end with a quiz maybe, then you will help the students to conclude the whole session, and then end the meeting and post the recording for the students to keep on watching the same video again. And last but not least, I repeat again, this is the bookend approach where you will need to get the students committed for the intermediate session. Otherwise, it's very boring, like what I'm doing now. I'm not good in having activities, so always I feel alone here, and my students are not actively asking questions because I'm not really designing an activity. I'm quite a bad example actually. But the fact is actually you should have some activity, you should have some question for students to discuss. Just throw a question for students to discuss. Maybe that will be good enough for the students to get involved in the session, and then it can help the students for not being boring. Because listening to the whole session for 1.5 hours or even 3 hours, I heard some JB lecturers are doing 3-hour lesson in WebEx, which I think is crazy, where students will actually get bored and they will start doing something else if they are not interested in the topic. If they're interested, it's fine. For those who are not so intended, then you will get a disaster. So I think that's all from my part. Do you have any question before I pass the microphone to Dr. Asnab?